Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to PokePal. So today I'm doing a super budget deck profile on the Electromagnet Warriors. This is my first deck profile. It's going to be a little bit of a longer video because I am going into the basic combos of how some of these cards work. The main deck, if you're looking to build it, the one that I build runs you about 20-25 bucks, and the extra deck will run you about 25-30 bucks. So in total you're looking at around a $50 deck, so super budget. It is something that you could take to your locals, you can have fun with your friends. The build that I've done I wouldn't recommend for regionals or anything like that, but you can make some changes. You know how it is with Yu-Gi-Oh! You can make a super budget deck into an expensive deck if it is an archetype that you like, and you could potentially take it to regionals. I mean, it's nothing you're not going to do great with it, especially not in today's meta, because this isn't the kind of deck that you can really, at least from my experience, you can't successfully really go into lengths with this deck because you're never really going to have the fodder on the field. You're not going to have those monsters on the field to really be able to link off of and go into your combos, because your main thing is to bring out Empyreon. So when you have to get rid of your resources to summon something else, it makes it a lot more difficult to go into Empyreon. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile. I'm going to try to make it under 15 minutes because I've tried recording this video like 10 times, but be patient with me. This is my first deck profile. There we go. So I'm running two Berserkions. Now Berserkion is pretty much your boss monster out of Empyreon. He's the one that's in the deck. Now the super cool thing with him is that you just need one of each of the Magnet Warriors. The Electromagnet Warriors. You need one of the alphas, one of the betas, and one of the gamma electromagnet warriors, and you can summon him out. Now the really cool thing with him is that they can either be in your hand, face up on the field, or in the graveyard, so you don't actually have to have them in your hand or on the field. The graveyard works out really well because their effects lets you send most of them to the graveyard. So it's pretty cool that way. He does have 3,000 attack, so he is pretty strong. He has 2,800 defense. Each turn, you can get rid of one of the level 4. I believe it's one of the level 4s. Yeah, you could banish one level 4 lower Magnet Warrior from your graveyard and pop one of your opponent's monsters. And if he does happen to get destroyed by monster effect or by battle, the 3 Magnet Warriors that you banished to summon him out, you could summon those guys back out. It doesn't have to be those specific 3 Electromagnet Warriors, but it says it's one of each. So if this is the second time you've gone into him, you can summon those guys back out and go off of that, because they also have their own effects when you special summon them. So he's pretty good. He's really good. Now Valkyrion's the OG. He's the old guy. Not as good as Berserkion, a little bit more difficult to summon because you do have to have the monsters either in your hand or on the field. They can't be in your graveyard. But there is another way of bringing him out, which I'll show you guys later. So the difference with him is that you can, let's say, I mean, you're probably never going to be able to do it, but you can tribute him to summon one alpha, one beta, and one gamma that are in your graveyard, and you could special summon them back out. You're never really going to be able to do that because if he gets destroyed, he's going to get destroyed. But he is 3,500 attack, 3,850 defense. He's really big. There's a decent combo that you could use with him that makes it a little bit harder to get rid of him, which I'll go into later in the deck. And yeah, I mean, he's pretty good too. These are the 2 monsters that you need to bring the big guy out. Next, I'm running 3 of the alphas, 3 of the gammas, and 3 of the betas. Now these are the guys that you need to summon out Berserkion. Now these all have the same secondary effect. When they're on your field, sorry about the glare guys, I'm using my phone for a light source and it's glaring a little bit off my sleeves. But these guys, you can, let's say you have him on the field, you can get rid of him, send him to the graveyard, and you can special summon one of those level 4 Magnet Warriors from your graveyard, or from your deck. So they all have different secondary effects. So for example, Alpha, when Alpha Summoner special summon on the field, you can add a level 8 Magna Warrior from your deck to your hand. So that'll be either one of these guys you'll be able to add from your deck to your hand. So pretty cool. And then if he is, let's say your opponent, if you have any of these on your field and your opponent's going to attack into any of them, you can get rid of them to special summon one of the level 4s in your deck. Now that doesn't stop the attack. Your level 4, if they decide to attack into it, it'll still get destroyed, but it gives you more fodder in your graveyard. And it helps you out to really have either the level 4s, the regular Magnet Warriors, which we'll get into, or the Electromagnet Warriors. It really helps you out having them in the graveyard, and I'll show you why in a little bit. With these guys, you already know, having them in the graveyard will still allow you to summon Berserkion, but they can also allow you to summon Valkyrion. So Gamma, so we've gone over Alpha. Gamma, when he's normal special summon, he lets you special summon a level 4 lower Magnet Warrior from your hand. And he has a bigger booty. He has the biggest booty. He's 2,000. And then same thing, during your turn or during your opponent's turn, you can pop him, send him to the graveyard, and special summon one of those level 4s. And then Beta lets you add one of the level 4 or lower Magnet Warriors from your deck to your hand, and then same thing, you could pop him and summon one of those level 4s. Now, why would it benefit you to have those level 4 Magnet Warriors in your graveyard? Well, that's because we run 3 Deltas. Now, the cool thing with Delta is when you normal or special summon him, you can send a level 4 lower Magnet Warrior from your deck to the graveyard. And then when he's destroyed, you could banish 3 level 4 or lower, I believe it's level 4 or lower, yep, level 4 lower Magnet Warriors from your graveyard to special summon Valkyrion from your, I believe it's from your hand or deck, yeah. So if you have them on the field and you've already summoned some of these guys over here, we'll bring the cards over here. You've already summoned some of these guys, and you've used them to summon out the normal monsters, the normal level 4s, and they happen to also be in your graveyard. So once the level 4's in your graveyard, you can't use them to summon Valkyrion, but when he's on the field and he gets destroyed, which he probably will because he's only 1600 attack, 1400 defense, then you could summon your Valkyrion out. So pretty cool. So we'll put him on the side. So we run 3 of him because, like I said, you do want, it does help you having the cards in the graveyard, and every time you summon one of him, you're able to send one more of your card, one more Magnet Warrior from your deck to your graveyard. And then we run 2 each of the normal Magnet Warriors. 2 alphas, 2 gammas, and 2 betas. Well, these are the level 4s, so these would be really good for Xing, but it's a little bit, unless you're able to summon the Magnet Warriors, the Electromagnet Warriors, and you're able to get multiples of these out, they're difficult to keep on the field. So it becomes a little bit more difficult to XZs into go XZs with these cards. So we run 2 of each. It makes the deck a little bit less clunky, lets you add a little bit more to the deck when it comes to other techie cards and stuff like that. So I figure 2 of each is probably a good number to stick at. So now we have 2. I run 2 Block Dragons. Why 2 Block Dragons? This is the only part where I deviate from the regular Magnet Warriors. So Block Dragon's really good, especially in this deck, because all you have to do is banish 3 Earth-type monsters from your hand or graveyard. So you're gonna have those cards in your graveyard. So whether they're the regular Magnet Warriors, which it would benefit you to be the regular Magnet Warriors you're banishing and not the Electromagnet Warriors, since they'll help you bring out Berserkion. But you banish 3 of those, you're able to summon him straight from your hand, no problem. And let's say you do have him out with you already summoned your Valkyrion, or you already summoned your Berserkion, or even if you have your Empyrean out, he makes it so that other Earth-type monsters on the field can't be affected by your opponent's by any of your opponent's effects. So no spells, no traps, no monster effects or anything like that. And yeah, so they can only be destroyed by battle. So I mean, if you have Valkyrion, 3,500 attack, it's going to be pretty difficult for your opponent to get over him if they can't use an effect on him. Now, of course, they can still use effects on your Block Dragon and get rid of him, but it makes it just a little bit more difficult. Adds a little bit more of a barrier to your Valkyrion and your Berserkion or your bigger monsters, where they just have a little bit more protection when it comes to your opponent's effects. I run 2 Ties of the Brethren. Some people run 3. I think 2 is a good number to be at. Of course, it's a really good card, especially when you're running this kind of deck. You're going to want to run Ties of the Brethren. It used to be a little bit more expensive. Now it's decently cheap. So you pay 2,000 of your life points. You target one of the level 4 lower electromagnets that you have, and you're able to summon 2 more of them. So the only thing that sucks with that is that if you do have like a regular Magnet Warrior, they're all level 4s. So you're only able to summon the other 2 Magnet Warriors. And if it's the Electromagnets, they're level 3, so you can only summon other level 3s. Now I do believe that it does work still with Delta, the Magnet Warrior, because they're level 4 and he's level 4. So it works that way. And also when it comes to cards like Beta, with adding a level 4 lower Magnet Warrior from your... I forget to mention that. When it comes to like Beta or any of these other cards, when it comes to like special summoning or adding a level 4 lower Magnet Warrior, they also work with Delta. So it's good with that, especially since if you are able to special summon your other Magnet Warriors, they give you those effects, so you're able to add more cards to your hand. Or you're able to, if it's Alpha, you're able to add that other level 8 and stuff like that. And then I run 2 trade-ins. Now, why 2 trade-ins? Because if you happen to draw into one of the level 8s early in the game, and you don't, if you draw one of these too early in the game, like your first turn, you're probably by the end of that turn not gonna have enough resources to summon either of these guys. So it's just to add some card advantage. One Pot of Duality. Pot of Duality, I don't like running more than one in this deck. You could tech it out if you want. The only reason I don't really like this card in this deck is because this deck is very reliant on like special summoning, and even when you have a card like Berserkion or Valkyrion out or whatever, like especially Berserkion, like his effect lets you, if he's destroyed, special summon those 3 other cards, and it most likely you'll be using that during your opponent's turn, but during your turn you're probably gonna want to special summon something. So I mean, you'll know if you can play this or not. It just really depends when you play it, but it can be a very useful card. Now, Soul Charge, because you know it's Soul Charge, you can bring back your monsters. You pay 1,000 life points for every monster. You guys know what that does. And then Fusion Conscription. You guys could tech that out. I only play it. I've been kind of testing it out. I just been playing it for now. So it lets you reveal one of your fusion monsters. So you could reveal like your Empyrean, and you could add one of those 2 monsters to your hand. So if you happen to only have one Valkyrion or one Berserkion in your hand, and you have a Polymerization, and you can't summon him because you need that other card, he lets you do that. This card lets you do that. I run 2 polys. You can run 3 if you want to. I just run 2. It wouldn't hurt to run 3, especially in the deck that I've built, because Empyrean isn't the only fusion monster I run in here. But I just run 2. Terraforming, Fusion Recycling Plant, and 2 Magnet Fields. Now, why do I run these cards? All these cards can be teched out. When it comes to this deck, the main thing that would probably stay pretty close to what it is would be the monsters. If you guys didn't want to take out these cards, you could. This is more like my preference. So I run the Terraforming because the Terraforming lets you add any of these 3 to your hand. Now, you guys will know, sorry about that, when you want to add which one to your hand. So the cool thing with Fusion Recycling Plant is that you could discard a card from your hand, and you could add 1 poly from either your deck or your graveyard. So it helps you add that poly, search the 2 polys that you have in your deck, or if you already used it and you need to get it back, then it lets you get it back. So that's pretty cool. And then the Magnet Fields, if you control a level 4 or lower Earth Rock type monster, it lets you bring back one of your Magnet Warriors from your graveyard and special summon it. And also, if your monster battles your opponent's monster and your opponent's monster isn't destroyed, so I've had to do this a few times, I'll special summon one of my Magnet Warriors and just attack head on into one of my opponent's monsters because I just can't get rid of it. Then at the end of the battle phase, that monster is returned to the hand, which can be useful in certain situations. If you do that and then your opponent can you have nothing to like counteract it, and then the next turn your opponent can like summon that monster that you couldn't do anything with anyway, then it doesn't really help you. But I like running that card. It's helped me out a few times. Oh yeah, and Fusion Recycling Plant also has a secondary effect that I always forget. Once per turn during the end phase, you can target 1 monster in your graveyard that was used as fusion material for a fusion summon and add it to your hand. So, but that was used for fusion summon that specific turn. So, if you do end up summoning Empyrean, then you can add either the Berserkion or the Valkyrion back to your hand. Now I run 1 Dark Hole. because it doesn't hurt you to have your electromagnets in the graveyard, and realistically, it doesn't hurt you to have your Magnet Warriors in your graveyard either. And 2 Drowning Mirror Forces. Now, the 2 Drowning Mirror Forces, I only play it because there is certain times where your field is might be empty, and this allows you to shuffle your opponent's attack position monsters into the deck. Trap cards, I try to stay away from them a bit in this deck. I mean, I do like playing trap cards. I know this meta has gone much, away from trap cards because traps are considered too slow and stuff like that. And this is a slow deck, so you don't want to make it even slower. But I feel like sometimes trap cards can delay the game for you just enough where you're able to bring out more stuff. Keep in mind, life points, at least in my opinion, life points only matter until you lose. If you have 1 life point left and your opponent has 8,000, you can still win that game. You're still not done, unless, burn damage and stuff like that. So this is something that if you're going to get attacked into, it does delay the game a little bit for you to try to build that hand a little bit. But that's just my opinion. You guys could also take that out if you wanted to. So that's the main deck. The main deck is done. So for the extra deck, we have 3 Empyreons. So Empyreon is really cool. So once per turn, whenever your opponent activates any effect, whether it be a monster, a trap, a spell, whatever, you can negate it and destroy that card, which is really useful. And then another thing is, if he leaves the field because of a card effect, I believe that's the only way that yeah, so if this face-up card in its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, then you can special summon a Valkyrion and a Berserkion from your hand or deck, ignoring the summoning conditions. So he's 4,000 attack and 4,000 defense, and he negates 1 effect per turn. Your opponent probably isn't going to be able to face smash into this and get rid of it, so most likely it's going to be an effect that gets rid of him. If you're able to negate the first effect and your opponent happens to have something else that you don't have, that you're not aware of, and he is somehow able to remove him from the field, then you're able to resummon that Berserkion and that Empyreon, or that Berserkion and that Valkyrion, which really helps you out. But his first effect is really good just because you're able to do that 1 negation per turn, but it is just 1. It is a hard once per turn. And then I run 2 First of Dragons because we do have normal monsters in this deck, and if you're just not having a good time and you need to delay the game a bit, he's really good to delay the game because he can't be destroyed except with battle with a normal monster, which most likely your opponent isn't going to have a normal monster with over 2,700 attack. He can't be destroyed by effects or anything like that, so he's really cool. Just 2 normal monsters and a poly that you need to summon this guy out, which you have. And then I run the Utopia engine, so you guys will see in my extra deck, there's only 14 cards, not 15. My Utopia Prime, for some reason, I don't know where he's at, but it's just an in-case type of thing. I know these guys aren't as popular as they used to be since the Lynx format, but like I said, most likely you're never really going to be able to go into Lynx, and you're probably not really going to go into your XZs that often. It's really, if you really want to delay the game, you're going to be looking to go into something like First of the Dragons or something like that. But good cards either way to have, and they're cheap. The whole point is that this is supposed to be a budget deck for a more casual player, and that's why I run that. And then we run the Wind Up Zenmane, so if this face-up card on the field would be destroyed, you can detach one of the XZ's material from him. And once per turn during the end phase, if you use that effect, then you could target one of your opponent's cards and destroy it. So he's pretty useful that way, and all you need is 2 level 3 monsters, which you run the I don't know why he's even in that part of the deck, but we do run, or that part of the extra deck, but we do run some level 3s in the deck, as you saw with the Electromagnet Warriors. There's some more level 3s that are run here, but this is the last level 4 for some reason. I don't know why it was out of order like that, but whatever. So we run the number 55, Go Goliath. So all monsters you control gain 800 defense. That isn't really what matters, but you can detach 1 XZs from this card and target 1 level 4 Earth rock type monster from your graveyard and add that target to your hand. So he allows you to bring some cards back if for some reason you ended up banishing or getting rid of too many of your or not banishing, but if you sent too many of your rock type monsters to the graveyard and you need to bring something back for some combo or something like that, then he allows you to do that. And then Gorgonic Guardian. Gorgonic Guardian is really good. Usually any deck that can run Gorgonic Guardian runs her. She's really good because she allows you once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach one of the Xyz material from this card and target one of your opponent's monsters, and his attack goes to 0 and his effects are negated. So really good, especially in certain situations. And once per turn, you could target one monster in the field with 0 attack and destroy it. So I ran 2 of them. I don't usually go into both of them too often, but they've been very useful before. If you're gonna take anything out, I just wouldn't do the Gorgonic Guardians. They're really useful. They're really good. Put the wind-up Zen main up there. Then the Dark Rebellion. Oh, I got the other level 3s that I got out of order for some reason. So Dark Rebellion, you guys know what Dark Rebellion does. You attach 2 materials from this card, target one of your opponent's monsters, you half its attack, and this card gains that portion of that attack. So it's pretty good. 2 level 4s. You're, like I said, with the level 4s, it's not gonna be as easy to go into them, but they're still good to have. And then the last one, or no. Alright, we'll do this level 4. Why did I do this? Sorry guys, super out of order. So with Castel, you can detach 1 Xyz. Yeah, you guys know what Castel does. You pop one of your opponent's cards. You're fine. You're fine. You guys know that. And then Levier is a 2 level 3 monsters. Sorry about the glare again, guys. Sorry about that. Once per turn, you detach one of the Xyz from this card. You can target 1 banished level 4 lower monster and special summon it to your side of the field. So this is what I meant to say earlier. So if you do end up banishing too many monsters and you do need to bring something back, he allows you to do that. Pretty good. And yeah guys, I mean that's it. If you guys have any advice, anything that you think should get changed out or anything like that, like I said, the main point of this deck is to be budget. And I think this deck successfully does that. Of course, like I said, what I showed you here today, the monsters will probably stay about the same. If you guys did want to change the spell and trap cards a little bit, of course you can do that. But this is meant for budget. Go to locals, go have fun with your friends. It's a super fun deck. I've had some success with it, and yeah, I mean that's it. If you guys have any advice, leave it in the comments down below. If you guys like the video, give it a like, or if you want to see more deck profiles, give me a follow and let me know what you guys want to see next. There are a few other budget decks that I have, and yeah, thanks for watching guys. Take care.